The Sacred and Terrible Air by Robert Kurvitz. Chapter 3. Non-Entity. The Roman-Gorod Conference defines the 10 different types of missing persons. The ninth of them, non-entity, is a gross violation of the International Declaration of Human Rights. Such a person has not only been eliminated by some violent state body, but the documentation of their former existence has also been made to disappear. This special case of political fading, cursing of the memory, has been inflicted on a number of historical figures with varying degrees of success. In the case of the country of Mesk, for example, a loss of as much as 10% of the historical scale of its entire culture can be statistically established. We will not dwell on the successful examples. It would be impossible to talk about today that did not exist. But we all live behind small traces, and the censor is only human. Thus, it may happen that the obliterated citizen becomes, thanks to their non-entity, a significantly more recognized historical figure than their colleague who was simply shot in the head behind a waste dump. What other prominent narrative would have saved the Samaran Communist Party cutthroat Julius Kuznitsky from the obscurity of history, if not that funny photo? As recording technology has developed, even more complex processes have been added to the craft of filing the emperor's head off of coins. For a well-oiled, degenerate bureaucratic worker, it's not exactly difficult to do a little spring cleaning of its punch cards. But in the case of photographs, and also some particularly curious examples in the age of film material, the cleaning takes on a certain shade of technical finesse, one that we can admire in the above-mentioned disappearance of Commissar Julius Kuznitsky, who, under the retoucheur's magic wand, vanished from on board the steamer Mazov on that sweltering Sunday morning. Julius was a nasty person, an uneducated peasant. His young eyes did not see the world revolution. The Commissar's meteoric rise began later, in Samara. Not having the slightest clue of Mazov's ideals, he was careless in giving his victims titles with a politically accusatory notion. This ultimately proved fatal for him. One day, apparently, the chairman of the Presidium, Knyzhnytsky, could just not stand this embarrassment. Tell me, Kuznia, how can it be that Comrade Zdorov is a counter-revolutionary when the revolution already happened over 50 years ago, and why are Comrade Bronsky's Mazovian Knyzhnyskian beliefs are irreversibly narrow-minded? I am Knyzhnyski, Zapormat Knyzhnyski, that's my name. How it binds. In certain circles, these two photos, the original and the retouché side by side, have become a pop cultural phenomenon. The rat-faced smile that Kuznitsky conjured on his face that day adds spiritual value to the curiosity. Well, look at him. Who wouldn't want to wipe this nasty weasel from history? An even worse fate befell the third figure in this photo, Aram Uchotomsky, Mazov's faithful revolutionary friend from the 11-day government, an eminently talented agronomist, geneticist, and one of the 3 breeders of the Ulan yellow potato variety. A rare apolitical figure whose unassuming behavior and irreplaceable contribution to the table of the world's working class saved him from a total of 3 rounds of cleaning. That is, until Uchotomsky's scientific impartiality offended someone at the 21st Plenum of Geneticists. It turns out that modern genetics is simply not compatible with Knižničkian's tabula rasa approach and philosophy, where, in a state of revolutionary spirit, even gooseberry seeds can be just convinced to become figs. With horror, Uchotomsky found himself listening and likening himself to a small plasticine snake when speaking before the Presidium. Having never written criticism about himself before, the poor scholar overextended himself so blatantly that even in the then lush, self-deprecating atmosphere, it was difficult for those present to listen to his words. Since this memorable performance, Uchotomsky's name has been attached to the epithet of bootlicking. The historical character having been completely compromised, the merciful Chairman Knižinski decided to spare the memory of his older and once more worthy comrade. By the ninth process, he was sent behind the waste storage, and later, all traces of Uchotomsky's existence were eliminated. But the history falsification failed. The retucheurs absent-mindedly left one remarkable photo with Uchotomsky in it untouched, the same photo from which Commissar Julius Kuznitsky entered oblivion earlier. Technically, however, the most impressive story is Ignus Nilsson's fall from the cannon, a Mazovian schoolteacher turned prophet. Likewise, a significant figure in the history of communist movement, he became a disembodied spirit under the hands of Basa's censors. The character of Mazov's apocalyptic Shrike suddenly became somewhat burdensome for the image of the Social Democratic North. That's how they engineered the disappearance of Nilsson with Grad, which had recently repelled the revolution. To the dismay of the censors, dozens of hours of film footage of Mazov had been captured during the technically progressive 11-day government, where the revolutionary icon was almost always accompanied by his best friend and comrade-in-arms, Ignus Nilsson. Destruction of all material would have raised suspicion. That's how it came to be that a ghostly grey cytoplasm is permanently floating in Mazov's right hand. It took decades for historians to solve this blood-curdling mystery. Even today, many believe that that cytoplasm is communism itself.